Good morning. Got a book, notes. Marshall called me a little over a week ago and asked me to speak here today, and immediately I said yes. And then I spent the next week trying to talk myself out of it. Things I tell myself, is that I'm not good enough, that I can't do this. How could I help anyone? But see, that's what my disease tells me. I'm a drug addict, and my name is Crystal. I began using at the age of 13, and I partied through high school. At that time, drugs weren't really number one to me. I still like to have fun. But over time, the fun became less and less, and the drugs became more and more. Drugs got harder and harder, and the ways that I did those drugs progressed as well. I became a victim, a shell of a person, the poor, pitiful me type. Everything that happened was just like another excuse to use. I became unable to stop. Physically, I was addicted, and mentally, I was checked out. I was a junkie, and I was so twisted that I would tell myself I was still a good mom and still a good person. I was only hurting me, right? That's wrong. I hurt my whole family. The best way to describe how I existed in this world is my high school graduation. I showed up to my high school graduation late, and I was messed up. And I remember walking up, and my mom and my stepdad were out front. And he said, "Well, she's here." And my mom said, "But she's not." And I wasn't. My life was just existing, there physically, but not in any other way. Towards the end of my addiction, I wasn't even showing up. I just wasn't around. I used to blame God for all of the bad things that happened to me. And I thought he must not love me. I turned to drugs during these times instead of to him. The gap between God and I grew really large. I became a liar, a thief, manipulative, self-destructive, hateful, spiteful, basically an ugly human being. I wish I could tell you that my rock bottom was when I landed in the hospital from an overdose, but it wasn't. It wasn't the second or the third overdose I had either. Those have been really great rock bottoms. Truth is, I didn't care if I lived or if I died. I hated myself. I hated the life I'd created, and I just hated. My family and friends were no longer around because who would want to be around someone in the grip of addiction? Unless you were using too. My bottom came after a friend and I stole drugs, like prescription medication, and he overdosed. I woke to find him blue. I called the ambulance. I gave him CPR, and then I went to jail, not knowing if he was going to make it. Coming down on drugs is really hard, but coming down in jail is even more difficult. I wasn't alone, though. This time it was different. All the other times I'd tried to quit, I couldn't. In jail, obviously I had to, but I can't explain how I felt in there, but it wasn't like any other time. God was with me in there. After a few days, I found out that my friend David had died. This was incredibly hard news to hear and to process in jail. But like I said, I wasn't alone. God was walking with me through this time. I didn't know he was there at the time, but looking back, I can see everything that he did for me. I would have never survived without him. I began to change in the 35 days that I spent in jail. I even enjoyed it, which sounds strange, I read my Bible, I prayed, and I meditated. I felt God again, and I was at peace with everything that had happened. It wasn't poor, pitiful me anymore. It was God's plan for me. Today, I'm in a 12-step program because I need more than just desire to quit using. Plus, this disease I have affects more than just me using drugs. It affects how I think. I need people like me to show me how they do it. They say some addicts die so others can live, and that's what David did for me. Today, I want to live and enjoy life. This past summer, I think I had more fun than I ever have. All clean. And I took my boys all over the place, and I really feel blessed to live in a place like Northwest Arkansas because there's so much to enjoy as a family here. and before I hated this place. And I was afraid to come back to this place because this is where I used. I remember when I didn't think that you could have fun clean, but I was really wrong. Today I'm connected with God. I have zero desire to use, and he did that for me. I'm a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend, and I'm also a Christian. When times get hard or when I'm faced with a challenge, I openly accept it, just like I did on this opportunity. I look for progress, not perfection. I'm not perfect, And when I get down on myself for all the mistakes I've made and all the time I've wasted, I remember God loves me and he forgives me. And so I need to forgive me too. Today, I even love myself. Thank you for listening. I'm an addict and my name is Crystal.